Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and analyzing the most recent interview article that Entertainment Weekly has done with Robert Kirkman about the huge shocking moment during the most recent episode of The Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 8. So with that being said, huge warning of spoilers for everything in the show up to the Season 8 mid-season finale, and let's jump right into this. So, ever since they have confirmed that Carl's fate is in fact sealed, Scott Gimple has came out and taken complete responsibility of the situation, and therefore all the flack as well. While some people think that he has just gone crazy, others are convinced that he is nothing more than a scapegoat for AMC. So, Scott Gimple is one thing, but what about Robert Kirkman? The creator of The Walking Dead has stayed completely quiet about the situation until now, and that has gotten a lot of people wondering what the heck is going on. Everyone has wanted a statement from Kirkman, including myself, and we've found it very eerie that Kirkman has said not a word about Carl's death, well, at least until now. Now, I was brought up a very valid point by someone in the comments of one of my previous videos who mentioned that Kirkman hasn't come out and said anything yet due to the current lawsuit with AMC. It makes sense that he would want to be careful with what he says, if anything, but since so many people have been wondering what Kirkman's opinions are, it seems as though he's finally given some sort of comment on the situation in an interview with Entertainment Weekly where he gives a bit of an input from his side of things. To be honest, I was hoping for a lot more, but with the entire lawsuit surrounding Kirkman and AMC, I understand him wanting to keep things short and concise and professional. It seems like he almost only did this article interview as an excuse to calm people down and say that he's now spoken on the situation. Anyways, enough rambling, and let's jump right into what he has to say. Quote, "I think Scott first brought it up to me as a possibility probably about a year ago at this point," says Kirkman, who was also executive producer on the TV version. "At first, I was kind of like, well, that's a big one, you know? I might have had a little bit of trepidation, but once he laid out to me what exactly his long-term plans were, and the things that come out of it, and the things that it leads to, it was something I got on board with." End quote. So for those of you who may not know what trepidation means, it's a feeling of fear or agitation about something that may happen. So, it seems as though Gimple came to Kirkman with this idea, and he had to almost convince him that it was the correct decision to make. Although Kirkman is still the creator of his own comics, he's been widely absent from Season 8 of the show, and I wonder just how much input he's had on the season, really. Although it probably has to do with the fact that he's suing AMC over The Walking Dead, like what I said before, I'm honestly surprised that Kirkman let this happen. This is going to relate back to my original discussion about Scott Gimple in December, but there has to be something else going on behind the scenes, behind the curtains. I doubt that Kirkman would have simply agreed to killing off Carl and completely changing the future story arcs of the show just so that Rick can be convinced to spare Negan's life at the end of the season and the end of the war. There has to be something else happening behind the curtains, either with AMC or the show writers, but it seems like Kirkman was almost forced to agree with this. Continuing on with the article, Kirkman has heard the clamoring of those distraught from the development, but he says that the team making the show expects and welcomes the pressure that comes along with such a huge death and devastation from the original source material. "We know that some fans online have been very upset, but that's by design," says Kirkman. "We're not supposed to be happy when these characters die. We're supposed to be worried about what comes next and anticipating what comes next and stressing about what comes next. That just shows that you're engaged and you're interested. Our job is to now pay that off and fulfill that interest and prove that this was a decision worth making. That's what we've got to do." Now, although I appreciate what Kirkman says here, I couldn't disagree more. He's responding to the Carl backlash as if he's just another lovable character getting killed off, saying things like, "We're not supposed to be happy when these characters die." Kirkman, I understand that. You don't have to tell me, but this isn't a normal character death. What Kirkman said was a valid answer to any previous character death, but not this one. Carl's death isn't the same as Glenn or Abraham or any other character death the first 6 seasons or so. I don't know how else I can emphasize this. They didn't just make us sad because Carl is dead. This has huge ramifications as everyone thought Carl was literally the future of the show. It's not just that fans are angry about the death, we're genuinely confused and concerned about the future of the show and its direction. I'm glad Kirkman said something, it's better than nothing, but this was definitely just to shut up the people complaining about how Kirkman has been staying silent about all of this. Anyways, Greg Nicotero adds in a word or two about how episode 809 will ease our minds about the Carl death, along with Kirkman talking up Chandler's performance in episode 809, but that's still missing the point. I'm not worried about Carl or sad about his death, I'm worried about the future of the show and what this all means for the direction of it. I'll have a video up in the future discussing this more in depth, but the comic book readers know how important Carl is to the future of the story, story, and that's what I really want Kirkman to comment on. I want to know if Kirkman is okay with killing off Carl, since that means that he won't be able to see through all of his important story arcs in the New Beginning and the Whisperer War. And so, what Kirkman says next directly relates to it, but it doesn't necessarily put my mind at ease. So, as for what happens after Carl leaves, Kirkman insists the story rejiggering will not be as extensive as some may assume. There are big, huge stories coming up that you might think will be massively altered because of the absence of Carl, says Kirkman, but we have known these storylines have been coming for years. There are plans in place to make it all work. The loss of Carl doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be losing big swaths of the comic book story. It means that there will be some differences to them. The goal is that those differences will be as exciting to the audience as they are to me. So, it seems like Kirkman seems confident in the replacement characters that they will most likely take over Carl's important roles from the comics, but will it live up to what the original could have been? My opinion has stayed the same since episode 808 aired, and my opinion is that yes, they can give Carl's future story arcs to other people, and it might work, but it just won't be the same and it won't be as good. Kirkman has definitely recognized the backlash, and this acknowledgement of the situation was probably just him trying to get all of the angry fans to calm down and hopefully listen to his vague defense of the situation. Although I do appreciate Kirkman coming out and saying anything at all, this wasn't good enough for me. I'm sorry. Is Kirkman really okay with just killing off Carl and giving the story arcs to other people in the future like Gimple confirmed? Oh, and speaking of Gimple, yes, I did hear the recent news that he will not be showrunner anymore, but I'm planning on focusing my next entire video on that new piece of information. Entertainment Weekly has released so many promos and articles this week in preparation for The Walking Dead Season 8 and Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, which I am extremely happy about, but god damn do I have a lot to discuss and break down on this channel on top of all the other videos I've already got planned. One man can only do so much, but I'm definitely trying to tackle all these topics here on the channel, and I'd love to hear your own opinions of it as well. So, what do you guys think about Kirkman standing up and saying something to EW? Are you satisfied with what he said, or do you want more? Feel free to leave any opinions or theories down in the comments section below about the entire situation that's happening over on The Walking Dead. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, or even subscribe for more Walking Dead Season 8 content in the near future. And if you'd like to take that extra step and help me support my videos, consider checking out my Patreon, where there's a bunch of different rewards involving the channel, such as a chance to directly influence the videos being produced. It isn't necessary by any means, but it could really help in the long run. And as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.